Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to High Elves tournament rosters. So we have covered starting rosters for every team available in Blood Bowl 2020, whether it's from the core rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, or the NAF additional teams. Now we're going back and covering those teams that we haven't done tournament rosters for. High Elves are one of those teams that have landed in the Teams of Legend PDF. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what builds you can get. We're going to go for 1.1 million and 1.2 million. The reason for that is because most tournaments are going to start at 1.1. They're going to be, 1100, 1150, 1200, 1250. So there'll be two elements here. One, you will kind of know what you're likely to face, although I don't think you're likely to face High Elves. And the second bit is if you want to run them, this will give you a good kind of archetype of what you can take for that amount of cash. Anyway, let's have a look at the High Elves. So first up, High Elves are a very expensive team. They are a strange team. They're kind of, the old analogy was Age for humans, basically. So elves have actually got armor, they've got movement, they've got some really great positionals. They have potentially one of the best throwers in the game. It's got passing 2+, comes with safe pass and cloudburster. So if you're going to be long bombing, this is the safest way to do it. They struggle into league play because you start at 1 million and you really can't get a lot for that. But at 1.1 million, you can get quite a bit. So this build here that we're going to start with is the 1.1 or the 1100 no star. You get 2 blitzers for High Elves, 1 thrower. That's 300k and those 3 players alone. 2 catchers. Now the catchers are fantastic. Movement 8, strength 3, agility 2+. These guys do great things. They come with catch. You really need to give them dodge. So when you're building skills for your team, kind of think about getting dodge on these guys and the blitzers, to be honest. This is a tier 2 team, so you should be getting some reasonable amount of skills. And yeah, dodge on the blitzers, dodge on the catchers are really going to keep them alive and keep them very mobile. Round out the roster with 6 linemen, 3 rerolls and an apothecary. Because these positionals are so jolly goshing expensive, having the apothecary to keep them alive is kind of important. So rerolls have kind of changed in this edition. You can use more than 1 reroll a turn. You can only reroll 1 dice once, ever. Thou shalt not try. But what it does mean is that you can roll different rolls. So you can make a pass attempt with a guy who doesn't have pass, and you can use a team reroll for that. Then you can block somebody else and use a team reroll for that, as long as you've got team rerolls left. So having 3 here to go along with your apothecary kind of enables your team to pull off whatever it needs to pull off. Now, cool thing is the linemen have passing on a secondary. So tier 2 tend to get a couple of secondary skills, so you may be able to afford to put leader on one of your linemen. That will allow you to put a better skill on your thrower, so accurate to go for a 1+, 2+, short pass, quick pass, short pass, or cannoneer to increase that long range passing, maybe even on the ball to maneuver that thrower around. But primarily the skills you really want to focus on are blitzers and catchers, getting them dodge, and somebody taking leader. That'll be about 5 skills, and that'll probably be the majority of what you can take. Anything more than that, kick on a lineman will help stagger that line when you kick it away, which will be very helpful for you. So 1100, you get quite a lot of elves. And at 1200, you get even more. So 2 blitzers, 1 thrower, and this is the best bit. You get to upgrade another 2 linemen to 4 catchers. That's right. You end up with 4 movement 8, strength 3, agility 2+ players with catch. Round up with 4 linemen, 4 rerolls and an apothecary. So we look at High Elves and we think, they're not very spicy, they don't do anything magic straight off the bat. This team fills out nicely when you get into the 1100s. 2 blitzers all day, 1 thrower, absolutely, 4 catchers is exactly where you want to be. What you could do is drop a catcher and take a second thrower if you really want to make sure that you're there to open up the passing game. I don't think that's what you want to do with this team. You should probably prioritize the fact or prioritize your movement 8 pieces, because running will be better than passing. It doesn't matter what you're doing or what roles you've got. Not passing the ball means you cannot drop the ball. So bear that in mind. If your thrower goes down, you still got plenty of chance to score with movement 8 elves. 4 rerolls in Apothecary mean that you are just doing stuff with this team all day long, and because you got those 4 rerolls, it's really up to you whether or not you want to burn a skill for leader or not. In this edition, being able to shoot multiple rerolls in a turn may be that actually, for this team, taking 5 rerolls is something that you want to do. Alternatively, what you could do is drop a reroll, downgrade a catcher, and take that 12th player. Take the other lineman. You'll be running 3 catchers, 3 rerolls, leader for the 4th, and then you'll have 5 linemen and have 1 spare. There's a little bit of maths you can do to sort of change up the team, but catchers are a priority, Apothecary is a priority, and rerolls really work together to allow you to actually do stuff with the High Elves. So the High Elves are an Elven Kingdoms League team, so they don't get a huge amount of star players, and the star players that they do get are a little bit pricey. However, Glorial sneaks in there at 150k. So if you want to be a passing elf team, you can upgrade your thrower to Glorial, but it will cost you a little bit. So look at this roster that we've got here. 1200 Glorial comes in at 1170, so 1,170,000 gold pieces. You get Glorial Summerbloom, you get 2 Blitzers, which are your move 7 block pieces. You get 2 Catchers, which are your move 8 strength 3 pieces with agility 2+ and catch. And you get 7 linemen with 3 rerolls. So this one coming in at 170 is pretty tricky. The only thing you can do is drop a reroll down to 2, and you could use that cash to maybe upgrade another player to a catcher. And then take leader on one of your linemen. That's the great thing about this team being one of the only, if not the only team whose linemen can take passing, is you don't need that thrower to be able to take that skill. Where passing's been limited on most teams, actually the High Elves can just take leader on a standard lineman, which is going to open up the build a little bit. So you chuck that guy on there, you bin a reroll, that takes you down to 1120, and that gives you 80k, which you can use to upgrade 2 more linemen to 2 more catchers. I think I'd probably recommend that. I probably should have changed it on the screen because I think that's probably the best way to do it. There we go. So we just built a new list on screen. Not the plan. However, I love this list much more. So dropping that 3rd reroll, banking on a lineman to take leader, opens you up with enough cash to upgrade to 4 catchers, 1 thrower, 2 blitzers, and 4 linemen. So 11 players only with 2 rerolls, 3 for the leader, plus Glorial Summerbloom. This is a spicy list. This is actually something I'd be quite interested to play. It doesn't quite have the explosivity of the Pro Elf team, but it does have a little bit more survivability with those linemen. This is interesting, actually. I like this one a lot. Anyway, Glorial Summerbloom version 2 comes in at 1190 with Glorial, 2 blitzers, another thrower, 4 catchers, 4 linemen, and 2 rerolls. Leader on somebody is going to keep this team running. So this is incredibly not thematic at all. So I'm a High Elf coach of old. No, that's not fair. I'm a High Elf general of old from Warmaster and Warhammer days. What we've got here is Roxanna Darknail. He's now playing for Elven Kingdoms, which means the High Elf can now take the Dark Elf star player. Interesting. So why would you want to do this with Roxy? Roxy is just absolute top tier. So Roxanna Darknail, movement 8, strength 3, agility 1+, passing 4+, armor 8+, dodge, frenzy, jump up, juggernaut, leap, and loner 4+. So she is just an absolute 1-person scoring threat. Movement 8, leap with a 1+ means normally you're going to get away with a 2+ or a 3+ leap. 3+ is risky, 2+ is technically risky because you know where you're going to roll. You're going to roll that 1, however it still gives you that opportunity to jump away. Realistically though, 1+ agility with dodge is going to keep her in the fight. Jump up, frenzy, juggernaut means that she becomes a blitz machine. She loses no movement if she's on the ground. If you fail to leap, you just get up the next round and you're frenzy blocking, or you're blitzing with your full movement of 8. And don't forget, you've got the option to receive a handoff on a 1+ here. So 1 tackle zone is going to be fine for Roxy. It's going to be a cheeky 2+. This roster is stretched though. So Roxanna is 270k, which is a chunk of change. You got enough cash for 2 blitzers, 9 linemen, and 2 rerolls. the great thing about the High Elf roster is one of these linemen can actually take leader. So in a tournament setting, one skill to leader gets you those 3 rerolls, which means you can actually do stuff with this team. I don't recommend dropping below that. However, if you want to free up 50k, you can, and that means you can upgrade a couple of players. You could take a thrower and a catcher, or 2 catchers. It allows you to play with what you can do. However, you're going to end up with just 2 rerolls, and that is going to be a little bit risky. However, if you're willing to do that for the explosiveness of that just star player, then it's kind of worth considering. So if you're like me, you think that every team should have a big guy. Clearly, Games Workshop agree because they've given Grack and Crumbleberry to every team out there. So if you are an elf coach and you think, I really want throw teammate, well then look at this list. 1200 Grack comes in at 1180, the Grack and Loathenberry build, because Loath and Seaguard are awesome. So Grack and Crumbleberry with 2 blitzers, 9 linemen, 2 rerolls. Actually, you've got 20k there, so you can upgrade a line chap to a catcher. I would definitely do that. Make the most of that spare cash. But what this gives you is a ogre. Okay, it gives you an ogre, which is awesome for an elf team. You're paying for it in the way of rerolls. I mean, you've got a leader on the lineman, so you can get that 3rd reroll, so that's pretty sweet. But you're paying for it in the way of catchers and your thrower positional. It's a really tough one. Basically, you're playing with a bunch of armor 8, agility 2 plus elves, a couple of good ones with the blitzers. Then you've got the mighty Grack, who's going to give you a mighty blow, along with strength 5, and you've got the halfling with sure hands. Now, elves shouldn't struggle picking up the ball on a 2+, but you've got the halfling there for throw teammate and a cheeky bit of sure hands to pick up the ball. It just fills out the roster, and it gives you an alternative direction to take with the high elf team. Personally, I think at 1200, then the Glorial build or just the vanilla 1200 all-in builds are just really good. But Grack is going to add a very interesting angle to your high elf build. So those are all of the rosters I have for you with the high elf team. The high elf team is a very interesting team in that it's really close to elves, but just a little bit less exciting. I'm very interested to see what will happen if Games Workshop release this team. I hope they differentiate it a little bit more, because at the moment it's kind of just boring pro elves. Sorry to offend you high elf guys out there, but when you're looking at a tournament build, okay, you want to go throwing, you're going to get more for your money with pro elves. Okay, I want to go armor and bash, you're going to get more for your money with dark elves, and that means that the high elf team just kind of sits in that middle ground of love the lore, love the look, love the schemes, don't love the fact that they're kind of not as, I don't know, they're just lacking a little bit of excitement, which leads to a lot of people saying, why did the high elves come back? And when they came back, why did they come back like this? Anyway, going to wrap up this video before I offend the high elf players, all 3 of them out there, including Bloodscythe Ben. Yep, going to wrap up. Let me know in the comments below what you do think of these rosters and the high elf team in general. And I'll be back again soon with some more Blood Bowl content. See you later.